The name isn't Bond, it's not James Bond, it's Jeremy Cato, and welcome to CatoCarGuide.com. Now I'm dressed up in formal wear because it seemed appropriate. Appropriate because today's video is of a tour I recently took in England of the National Motor Museum, which is just south of London, a very nice drive down south of London. The National Motor Museum this year has a terrific collection of James Bond memorabilia and cars and motorcycles and all the rest of it. And so I used that as a hook to get down there and check out the whole Motor Museum, which is just a terrific way to spend a day. It has one of the world's best collections of vintage and other automotive memorabilia. And this year, the National Motor Museum is celebrating its 70th anniversary. Highly worth a consideration for a visit. So this is my tour of the National Motor Museum. Thanks for watching. Now, the journey from horse-drawn carriages to Bondmobiles has taken more than 100 years, and you'll find that at the National Motor Museum. But here's a little teaser which gets you in the mood. It gives you a little flavor for what the James Bond experience is all about.
We all have our secrets. We just didn't get to yours yet.
If you take a 2-hour drive southwest on the M3, you will find England's National Motor Museum in the village of Beaulieu, or as the locals say, Bewley. For the gearhead or the history buff, this is a must-see. 250 wonderfully preserved vehicles dating back to the 19th century, and a vast assortment of automobilia. A day puttering about old cars and motorcycles of significance and amusement is always time well spent. But my most recent visit, my first escape from the travel-limiting clutches of COVID, was inspired by Beaulieu's new Bond extravaganza. Bond in Motion, No Time to Die exhibition. It runs to November 22nd. I am a sucker for Bond, and the chance to get right next to the bullet hole-ridden Aston Martin DB5 from the most recent Bond film and others, well, this was too good to miss. It was still fun to soak up a bit of Ian Fleming-inspired make-believe. With, as it happens, my son Sam, just a couple of other bits and pieces. There's an Aston Martin V8, first driven by Timothy Dalton in 1987's The Living Daylights. Aston's DBS Superleggera, Italian for Superlight, driven by the new 00 agent Nomi, and Bond's retirement ride, a vintage Land Rover Series 3. There's also the Land Rover Defender 110 used in the off-road sequence in Norway. A 1957 Chevy Bel Air used by the gorgeous CIA agent Paloma, played by Ana de Armas. The museum sprawls across a large swath of Palace House and its grounds in the surrounding parkland. Palace House is the ancestral home of a lord, of course. This is England. Lord Montague in this place, more precisely known as Baron Montague of Beaulieu. That's him at the opening of the museum's Bond show. The museum was founded in 1952 by the third Baron as a tribute to, you guessed it, the second Baron, a motoring pioneer in Britain. Few details about the entire experience. The classic bus ride, the playground, the restaurant. This monorail that delivers a full overview of the entire Palace House grounds, including the partially ruined Beaulieu Abbey. A sidebar visit to the world of Top Gear is also good for a laugh, but it's the exhibits that were most engaging for me. Here we have a 1909 Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, which the plaque notes is one of the most famous cars ever, first used as a grand touring 7-seater, later a hearse, and later still a roadside repair truck. This Austin 7 was the British Model T, affordable in 1923 at £165. Austin's Mini Cooper S was a triumph of engineering. Tiny outside, generous inside, fuel efficient, and nimble enough to save Jason Bourne's life, if you remember the chase scene from the first movie. The Scottish manufacturer Argyll had a brief 2-year history, but this 1913 model had a groundbreaking feature: brakes at all 4 wheels. Here we have the second oldest Bugatti in existence, a triumph of style and performance. This 1914 Rolls-Royce Alpine Eagle was a sporty version of the Silver Ghost, a rally car that sold for just under £1,000. The great Michael Schumacher won 3 races in this V10-powered Ferrari F310 from 1996. This 1930 Bentley blower had a Root supercharger, but was still underpowered and thus not a racing success. The legendary motorbike racer Mike Halewood, winner of 9 world titles, rode this 1961 Honda RC162 to victory. Vintage bikes. This 1927 A.J. Stevens Bigport had a 1-cylinder engine that produced 80 horsepower and sold for a whopping 53 pounds. In the 1930s, Talbot produced some of the most beautiful touring cars, like this 1934 Talbot 105. This is the 1933 Rolls-Royce Phantom II. Is it the best-looking roller ever? Many think so. EVs, electric vehicles, are the rage today, and they were in 1939 too. Here you're looking at a 1-ton Harrods delivery van with underfloor batteries and a 60-mile range. Ford bested Ferrari in the 1960s, dominating endurance races, and this 1967 GT40 is one of the reasons why.
I hope I didn't go on too long there. Some of those vintage cars are really terrific. And of course, the Bond stuff was a treat. I spent a whole day down at the National Motor Museum, and I would highly recommend it, as I've said before. It's a terrific experience, and there's lots to see and do there, especially if you get a sunny day like we enjoyed down there. It's really a great experience, and if you're a car lover or a historian, or both, you're going to find it pretty rewarding and well worth the 20 quid that it costs to get in.